Hey there, welcome to The Project on your Friday. What next for the Kyle and Jackie O show as the radio watchdogs give them a slap for taking things too far?
He stole the show at Dua Lipa in Melbourne. We chat to 12-year-old dance sensation Keegan Power.
And upper-class vandals, why the ladies who lunched in Sydney are turning to political protest.
And we're joined by Ella and Jesse Hooper as they celebrate 25 years of killing Heidi.
Yes, we're live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and it's a big Friday. Welcome back to Sharon Gadella and Susie Youssef. Hello there. Back from all my stuff. It's good to be back. I missed you all.
Did you really?
I did. A lot.
Thank you for being honest with your emotions.
Well, we missed him, didn't we?
You didn't.
It took us a while to say that, but we missed you.
Yes,
both.
we
That's
did.
the whole
It was
reason
kind
I
of
brought it
harder to
up.
actually say.
I'm that sad.
No, we did. Well, let's get into today's top stories. First to some breaking news, and an aerobatics plane has crashed at Victoria's Avalon International Air Show. Incredibly, the pilot survived but suffered serious injuries. Emergency services are at the scene. The plane was reportedly doing a loop during a demonstration and didn't pull up in time. Today was the first day the air show was open to the public. Anthony Albanese has already hit the hustings in Brisbane just hours after officially calling the federal election for May the 3rd. Energy and the cost of living are expected to be two big issues for voters as Labor and the Coalition seek to secure a majority government. Electoral rolls close 8 p.m. Monday, April the 7th.
This election is a choice between Labor's plan to keep building or Peter Dutton's promise to cut.
The question that Australians need to ask is, are you better off today? Is our country better off today than 3 years ago?
And three elderly women have been caught on camera vandalising TLMP Zali Steggall's campaign poster in the posh Sydney suburb of Mossman. The well-dressed trio used what they had on hand to deface the poster, and that was lipstick.
Oh, they ruined it. Oh, was it a good one? Oh, shit, it was Chanel. Why'd you let me do that? Why'd you let me do that with Chanel? It does.
2 piggykins on a nose.
And $70 for a Chanel lipstick. I would have used a Sharpie as well. That's expensive.
It's the Golden Girls reboot we never knew we needed.
But police are urging people not to approach them, although they're not dangerous, unless you're a bottle of white wine.
Well, speaking of the Teals, polling suggests a genuine possibility of a hung parliament, meaning the next government may depend on the support of just a handful of independents. Hamish has the story.
You walk into a cafe, Albo's sitting there, Peter Dutton's sitting there. Who do you sit down with for a coffee?
I think I go and find another cafe.
In 2022, a tsunami of teal independents flipped traditionally Liberal seats, demanding greater action on climate change and pressuring both sides of politics from the crossbench.
The message from this parliament today must be unambiguous.
But it wasn't just the Teals making waves. Other independents, like Western Sydney's MP for Fowler, Dai Lee, hopped in too. 10 were elected to the House of Representatives, the greatest number since federal government was established back in 1901.
Fowler was the second safest seat for Labor at the last federal election, and I, took that away from them.
The major political parties are just obsessed with their political self-interest, with little awareness or concern for the public interest. That's why their vote's going down. That's why the vote for independence is going up.
At the last federal election, both major parties' primary votes crashed to historic lows. And if the upcoming election results in a hung parliament, as many predict, independents of all kinds could become kingmakers.
How does the term kingmaker sit with you?
I think it's really presumptuous.
I'm not comfortable with the term kingmaker.
Oh, look, I'm not going to be presumptuous.
To start calling yourself a kingmaker or thinking you're a kingmaker is to be, I think, terribly arrogant.
It might not sit well, but if no major party wins a clear majority, the independents could become the most important players on the political chessboard.
You think you're feeling confident enough?
I'm feeling confident enough, absolutely. I don't like to put condition. I'm not black and white. It's about...
You might have to.
It's about having a conversation.
We care about the environment. We want climate policy that's based on the science and is based on, economics as well.
We should not be banning gas in my community. Once we've stabilised the energy price for our community, then we can explore other avenues.
Things like tax reform, and that is a discussion I'd love to have with the major parties, because we need to do the right things by the next generation.
The infrastructure needs, our public transport, our trains, no investment there, bills, energy, gas, insurance, grocery, petrol. Right? So these are the things that people are telling me that's impacting them.
For someone that says they don't like putting out conditions, that's quite a long list.
It's a negotiation. When you sit down, you negotiate. You say, these are the lists I have. Will you deliver for my community?
They need to start looking after this electorate and stop taking it for granted.
The last hung parliament we saw was back in 2010, when rural independents Rob Oakeshott, Tony Windsor and Tasmanian MP Andrew Wilkie agreed to help Julia Gillard form government.
In fact, it was an 8-page typed document signed by Julia and myself. But halfway through that term of Parliament, the government refused to deliver on what it had agreed in writing in that contract.
The Prime Minister walked away from her deal with Andrew Wilkie.
After Labor backtracked on Wilkie's condition for pokies reform, he withdrew support for the Gillard government.
The government's given Andrew Wilkie short shrift, but his is not a vote it can afford to lose.
There was any number of votes during that second half of that term where my vote was crucial, and I certainly had more influence without a deal than with a deal.
As one of the most experienced independent MPs, Wilkie's now got some advice.
I'm saying to all my colleagues, do what you want, of course, but this is my experience and I won't be doing a deal again.
Do you trust the major parties?
I trust them to do what is in their interest. Look, there are people I've worked with across the board who I think, I have a high degree of trust, and there are others that I don't. And I think I certainly consider that.
But some in this new generation of independents may also have a secret weapon when it comes to the negotiating table.
As you know, Hamish, when someone gives me a BS line, I get all worked up. So
you got a good shit detector.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I have that BS detector.
Let there be 1,000 blossoms, blooms.
Daly also has Bob Catter in her corner.
In the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Sometimes I spent about half an hour trying to get that little gem out of the conversation with Bob. I don't know if you ever chatted to Bob.
Can you understand everything? Because I can't.
No, that's right. If you can't, can you imagine me? I sit there and I'm kind of trying to decipher what he's trying to say. But I know the end of what he's trying to say is that he's looking after me and making sure that I come back.
In the leafy eastern suburbs of Sydney, Wentworth MP Allegra Spender is hopeful of a second term.
I think Australians are mainly in the centre, and I think that's why people have left the major parties, is because people are frustrated, with the sort of swinging here and then swinging back. I think we need to fight to hold the centre, and that's really what I'm trying to do.
At the moment, they don't believe the major parties because there's been so many scripted, disingenuous conversations and scripted lines when they're standing out there talking. Let's be genuine. Let's bring some kind of authenticity back in having conversations, and let's see how people will react to that.
There's a question that's raised always by the major parties. What's the point of having an independent MP? They'll never decide the policy.
Look, I think firstly, independents have, in the last parliament and I think in previous parliaments, made a real difference. And I think it's about how we add to legislation, make it better. It's how we advocate on issues the major parties don't want to touch, such as gambling, such as tax reform.
This nonsense that's being peddled by the major parties and by some in the media, that the only stable, effective government is majority government, well, it's just that. It's complete and utter nonsense. And I think the more independence in the Parliament, the closer we get to that pure form of democracy.
Well, a big thank you to Hamish McDonald for bringing us that story and sitting down with the independents. And if you are thinking about defacing a poster, don't do it. But if you are going to, remember the rule. It's Dior for Dutton and Maybelline for Albanese.
All I know is it's a long time to the election.
Yes,
Strap in,
5 weeks.
everybody. Time for a break. We'll see you on the other side.
The project.
Yeah, radio, chin up. People still love you. Just a comment on the song that you probably weren't really listening to because you're applauding. Let's just keep moving. They're going to cut all this out when it goes to air. Hey, just when you thought you'd seen it all, The US Fox News network ran a story that we just could not step past. It's about a guy, a New York columnist by the name of Christopher Gray.
Christopher Gray, was
Christopher
it?
Gray, Susie.
Yep.
He passed away and had an unusual dying wish.
Christopher Gray was a man obsessed with things that were left behind. You see, Christopher Gray had a wish before he died. Christopher Gray wanted to be a skeleton.
Now, I don't want to break the news to Christopher Gray, but dude,
Yeah.
you was going to be a skeleton when you died. But they spoke to his, and I mean Christopher Gray's daughter.
Christopher
and look,
Gray's daughter?
Christopher Gray's daughter. And look, we've all received some pretty weird emails from our parents, but I think this one brings a whole new standard.
A month before he died, he emailed my mom, my brother, and I. When I die, I would like my bones to be flints, my principal organs removed and pickled, and I would like my skeleton to be displayed at St. Paul's.
Of course, make myself into a skeleton to be displayed at my old school. And of course,
The pickled bit.
Of the vital organs. So, sorry, rectum, you did not make the list. But they couldn't leave it there. I'm sorry you had to hear it from me, rectum. But they couldn't just leave it there. There was still one very important final question that the TV show had for their viewers.
Just ask yourself, if your family member wanted to be a skeleton after they died, who would you call?
Worms. Ants.
The passage of time.
Passage of time. Just patience.
Patience.
Just be patient.
Christopher Gray, just be patient.
Just be patient. And with compost, everything will turn out fine. So there you go. Haunt your school as well as part of your lasting legacy.
Yes, and in case you missed it, the White House has been scrambling this week to explain how journalist Jeffrey Goldberg was added to a group chat about super top secret military plans to bomb Houthi rebels in Yemen.
That's right. A lot going on with this one, so strap yourselves in and prepare to take off as these two Top Guns bring you up to speed.
Thank you, Goose.
I thought I would be,
No,
but no,
you are definitely Goose. Eyebags Maverick. First, the Trump administration and their friends tried attacking the journo, blaming him for sneaking into the Signal chat.
Jeffrey Goldberg, the real scumbag.
The guy's a total sleazebag.
He really is the bottom scum of journalists. Wasn't a good guy. Vociferous, vile, vituperative. He's the lowest of the low.
Vociferous and vituperative? Well, they're throwing the book at him, and that book is the thesaurus.
Yeah. And I'm notorious for always letting scumbags into our group chat.
Yeah,
That's
you do it all
why
the time.
Dodgy Loan Shark Barry, that was my fault. I
Yeah, I
apologise
know.
for that.
Thank you for apologising.
Anyway, when the White House tried to claim that the text messages about drone attacks and fighter jets, they were actually not even war plans, guys.
No classified information was shared in this group chat.
No classified information.
Nobody's texting war plans.
No classified material was sent.
There was no war plans on there.
So what is it about what Pete Hegseth wrote that makes you say this is not classified?
I would characterize this messaging thread as a policy discussion, a sensitive policy discussion, surely.
The Democrats beg to differ.
This is classified information. This is classified information. It's a weapon system as well as sequence of strikes. Secretary Hegseth has disclosed military plans as well as classified information. He needs to resign immediately.
Wow, that must have come from a really huge phone.
Massive phone.
Yeah.
Just pinch and zoom, guys. It's that simple. To the Democrats' claims, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth retorted thusly.
Doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans.
Yeah, and what is an attack if not a surprise? Thank you, Thesaurus, for that. Look, they were just basically planning a surprise party. Why do the Democrats hate fun so much?
Oh, fun police. So, the story is now picking up speed. The president did what he had to do and wriggle out of it quickly.
I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, and I think it's all a witch hunt. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there.
Was never there, didn't know what happened. That was the political equivalent of this. So no doubt this could have been the biggest security breach in US history. So it'll be very interesting to see how history remembers it.
The only thing we'll remember are the emojis. Fist bump, flag, and fire. Not bad.
Sure, but what he's not mentioning there are the 36 poo emojis they used when they realised the chat had leaked.
I mean, never in American history has an electronic messaging been so blown out of proportion. Oh, yeah.
Well, I would like to say thank you, Maverick. Goose?
No,
Goose,
not.
Maverick? Which?
I'm the Maverick.
You're the Maverick.
Let's face it, we're both the goose.
Yeah, double goose. Double goose.
Well, time for a break. More Project after this. This is The Project.
Thanks, I blacked out for a sec. Now stand by for our next guest, a funny guy looking to spice things up. You know what I mean.
My wife and I have resorted to doing the role play in the bedroom. Anybody else doing the role play? Give us a cheer. No, all right, no worries. No, we're doing the role play. Like sometimes I'll get my wife to dress up as a famous Australian sporting hero. Gets me going. Sometimes she'll get me to play the role of a man who moves into a motel for a month.
Well, please welcome stand-up comedian Daniel Connell. Daniel, we all just saw the clip there.
Yes,
Got to
yeah.
ask, so how are things with you and your wife?
Pretty good. Not great after I did that material on live TV to everybody, but not too bad. She's pretty happy when I'm at the motel, obviously. But,
that worked.
I'm back at home now, which is you'd be happy to hear.
Did you give the motel thing a try? Did you try
Many
to
times.
spice it up?
Yeah.
And
on
how
my
was
own.
it? How was the experience?
Just in the motel on my own.
Are you a good lover? Do you find
Yeah.
it by yourself?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's I love motel rooms. I do love a dingy kookaburra biscuit and a cup of tea.
Oh, what's not to
Gets
like
me
about
going,
that?
Plug-in kettle. Who doesn't want one of those? Now, who is the sporting hero that sometimes comes up out of interest from your side?
There's a few. Makybe Diva's one.
What a classic.
Yeah, and like obviously your greats like Betty Cuthbert and people like that. Weird result.
Little weird reaction there. I have to ask you about your show title, Box-Headed Man Baby.
Yes.
What is this creature? You know, the show's at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. I feel like I might be behind the eight ball here, but what is that?
The Box-Headed Man Baby, I think everybody knows one. Mine is a personal trainer that I met once. Just got a guy who seems like an adult, but is really a child on the inside. This guy, quintessential personal trainer, box-headed man baby, real, those guys that sort of a bit of real estate on weekends, bit of personal training, Monday to Friday.
I'm worried
bit of DJing on Saturday night.
I worry because when you say everybody knows a box-headed man baby, I'm that guy who's like, I don't think I know a box-headed man baby. Oh God, am I the box-headed man baby?
You do DJ on Saturday.
I do DJ on Saturday.
You talk a lot about protein shakes.
I do. Oh my God, I love to lift.
You've come out on Instagram and said that, about a particular mate who is a bit boring because he won't come to your show at 9:10 at night. Is your friend Nath Valvo?
Nath would not be seen alive out at 9:10 at night. But look, I don't know what's going on. I'm at 9:10 this year, and everybody's saying it's too late. We've changed. Like, what's happened to everybody? 9:10. Yeah. I had ladies say it to me at a gig. I was at a gig, and I said my show's coming up, at the festival you should come. And they said, what time? I said 9:10, and they said that's too late. And I said it is 10:20 right now. What are you talking about? Just come out. I was just saying to Robe, like people are on their phones till midnight anyway. Just get out of the house, get out of your PJs, come watch some live stand-up.
Oh, come in the PJs. Why don't you
come
just do
in
that?
the
Have
PJs?
like a slumber party show.
Dress up as your favourite. In the bed. Just keep the costume.
Oh my God.
He's really pushing the role play.
An audience full of pantomime horse costumes. How hot would that
beautiful.
be?
It would probably be off-putting actually.
Do you think has Gen Z ruined a lot of this stuff for you? Like it's because they always have a comment on stuff. They have a lot of opinions on stuff, and then it ends up online, and then everybody thinks that's the way we all think now.
Yeah, I don't. Gen Z's a little bit. Mine online, it's boomers that are my issue. If anybody hates me, it's men between 55 and 65 for some reason. But I feel like, Makybe Diva would be in their wheelhouse, but... Gen Z, there's... I have a lot of Gen Z... Gen Z.
Friends.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Friends who are childless, and I am with child, so I just find them very boring. They never want to do anything, and I just hate their guts, to be honest. I hate the freedom they have and the life they live.
Fair enough.
I just hate them so much. But I would like it if they came to my show.
Exactly. No excuse to come out.
You
No
are a
excuse to
very
come
funny
out.
man. I'm sure you appeal to all audiences. So thank you
you.
very much for your time, Dan.
Just
No worries.
precious. You can catch Daniel's box-headed man baby at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival and beyond. Head to our website for details. Thank you, Daniel Connell.
Time for a break.
Everybody, welcome back to the project.
Well, it's official. The election is a go. After months of will he, won't he, the Prime Minister has finally locked in a date, bringing great relief to people like me who need at least a month minimum to plan their Saturday.
You are cordially invited to join Mr. Anthony Albanese, born ready, and Mr. Peter Dutton.
The Sledgeathon is on
the following date.
Saturday, 3rd of May 2025.
Yes, election season is kicked off with a bang. The cannons signalling either the dissolution of Parliament or a severe escalation of the trade war. Now let's hear those Polly pitches.
This election is a choice between Labor's plan to keep building or Peter Dutton's promise to cut.
This election is a choice about who can better manage our economy.
We can't keep voting for the same two parties and expecting a different result.
The two men who want to be the next PM zeroing in on cost of living pressures.
Only a vote for Labor will keep your wages growing. Take 20% off your student debt and cut taxes again and again for every taxpayer next year and the year after.
A government I lead will build a strong economy with low inflation. And we will deliver this by reining in the wasteful spending that fuels inflation.
Both claiming they have the power to reduce the cost of power.
Labor's positive plan means taking another $150 off your power bill.
Our plan has gas and a lot of gas in the system between now and when nuclear can come online in 2035 to 37.
Yep, Dutton's gassy plan would force exporters to reserve supply for Australia's east coast. He's also planning to cut 41,000 public service jobs, but
I want to make sure that we can protect frontline services.
We do not need to copy from any other nation to make Australia even better and stronger.
Wait, which other nation could he possibly be talking about?
Well, people will make their own judgments.
They sure will, Albo, in just 36 days. Fire the judgment cannon!
Dark. Well, here to help us read the tea leaves is journalist Samantha Maiden. Sam, we've heard so much about this election already. What is it about? Is it cost of living? Is it energy? Is it the looming spectre of Donald Trump? Let us know.
Well, I think that three words that you mentioned completely sum it up. It's cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. When you think about it, the energy debate fits into that. And Donald Trump does to an extent as well when it comes to the impact that his policies are going to have on the economy and tariffs and all the rest of it. But there is a bit of a Trumpy flavour that Labor Party's trying to pin on Peter Dutton. He was called Timu Trump in Parliament this week, albeit by the Greens. So that's going to be part of the mix as well.
Now, we talked earlier about the chances of there being a minority government. How likely is that? Or is it really just something that we hear by the major and minor parties to make us vote for them and not the Teals?
No, look, I think you could just about put money on it. And the reason is because the Labor Party's margin is so small that they only need to lose a couple of seats and they're in minority. And the hill that, or the mountain that Peter Dutton needs to climb is so high that if he's even going to get within a whisker of government, it's going to have to be with maybe 70 seats and forming a minority government with the independents. So I think that either side of, I can't see Peter Dutton winning a majority and I can't see Anthony Albanese winning one either.
Samantha Maiden, I asked David Spears last night. He very eloquently sat on the fence. Who's going to win?
Look, I actually think that if you read the polls right now, they tell you that Anthony Albanese is going to scrape over the line, bloodied and bruised in a minority government. But I do think that this is going to be a wild election. There's so much volatility because there's so much support splintering to the Greens and independents that I think that it is possible that Peter Dutton could find a pathway. I do think that he is better at campaigning, more disciplined, better communicator right now than Anthony Albanese. I mean, Anthony Albanese started that press conference, included a big bang, but it also included him having a bit of a cry. Lovely that he's emotional, a bit kooky. I'm not too sure how many Prime Ministers had a cry in their first press conference. I think that this is going to be a wild ride, and I think that it's not going to be over until it's over, as they say in the classics, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, a wild ride indeed. I'm glad I ate a light lunch. Sam, thank you very much for your time.
Well, two more of today's top stories now, and at least one high-rise has collapsed in Thailand after two powerful earthquakes measuring 7.7 and 6.4 magnitude hit the neighbouring country of Myanmar. Social media footage shows people in Bangkok evacuating and gathering in the streets. There are also reports people are stuck under the rubble of the collapsed building, which was under construction. Water from a rooftop pool was even seen spilling hundreds of metres down the side of a high-rise. Tremors were also felt in parts of China. Claire Nowlan's family has voiced their outrage after the former police officer who tasered the 95-year-old walked free today from court. Christian White was found guilty of manslaughter but will avoid jail. He's been given a 2-year community corrections order instead. The judge ruled prison time would be a disproportionate sentence.
It was really disappointing for the family because it was, well, a slap on the wrist for someone that's killed our mother. It's very, very hard to sort of process that.
They're known for risque content, but this time Kyle and Jackie O have gone too far. Australia's media watchdog has found they breached radio decency standards during a broadcast last June. Responding to a listener complaint, ACMA says the pair deliberately went beyond the bounds of decency with their sexually explicit content. It's now deciding penalties for the program. Epic scenes in Chicago as Aussie NBA star Josh Giddey scored a crazy half-court basket on the final buzzer to beat LeBron James and the LA Lakers 119-117. He's just showing off there. Bulls players and fans went wild as Giddey nailed the shot from about 15 metres.
2 seconds left. Giddey for the win! Go! Oh my God! I cannot believe this! Elizabeth! I'm coming, baby! Oh, no! Improbable! Unbelievable! Impossible!
That is not Elizabeth.
He was the only fan not happy, and thousands of fans will be rocking out to Dua Lipa in Sydney tonight, the last stop on her Aussie tour. But everyone's still talking about the 12-year-old boy who stole the show in Melbourne last week. Superfan Keegan Power took to the aisles and got the audience hyped up before Dua even hit the stage.
Epic. Well, hopefully I can learn some of those moves from him because Keegan and his dad, Kieran, join us now. So, was this all choreographed, Kieran, or was it planned and spontaneous in the moment?
It was just very spontaneous and in the moment. I just felt like getting up and expressing myself to everyone in the Rod Laver Arena.
Well, I tell you what, Keegan, I don't know too many 12-year-olds who could have done what you did. Kieran, can I ask you, has Keegan always been this confident?
Yeah, he's always been this confident. Yeah, he's from probably ever since he could walk and talk. He's just been up and dancing and screaming, and it just never stops.
Keegan, I have to ask, do you want to be a backup dancer? Because you've got very main character energy.
Yeah, I would love to be a dancer for my own world tour. I would love to show like stadiums sold out with lots of people.
Yes.
Just showing myself and my dancing.
Absolutely. Do you have a plan? What would be the absolute goal of your life?
So I'm actually going to the Katy Perry concert at the Lifetimes tour in Adelaide on the 26th of June. And I would really, really, really love to dance with Katy Perry on stage.
Just put it out there. You never
Why
know.
not? Put it on the dream board. We can make it manifest. But let me ask you this. So in the moment, you're just feeling it. The crowd's getting warmed up. You just start busting out the moves. Once you knew everybody was watching you and cheering you on, how did that feel? Take us through the moment for you.
So I felt very excited about that, and I thought it was so cool that the whole arena was watching me and me only, just doing my own thing, expressing myself.
Kieran, does Keegan get the moves from you?
Definitely not.
So I know this is going to be a tricky question, but what was the best part of the night? Was it seeing Dua Lipa, or was it becoming the star of the show?
So I think it was actually when she got off stage and she would interact with the whole entire crowd and take photos with people at the barrier and stuff. I just thought that was very cool and loved watching people meet Dua Lipa.
Well, Keegan and Kieran, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy Katy Perry when it happens.
Thank you.
I knew you win, Keegan, remember that. In the meantime, news. Sometimes it comes to you, and sometimes you are invited into a secret government US chat group and inadvertently glean their deepest, darkest secrets. Either way, it's cool, baby. I'm not really fussed. Anyway, here's this. In India, the female pygmy goat Karumbi has made an appearance in the Guinness World Records as the world's shortest living goat, measuring in at an adorable 40.5 centimetres tall. She also made a later appearance in the world's smallest curry. Police in England have apologised after raiding what they thought was a marijuana grow house, only to find it belonged to two elderly pensioners, Barry and Mavis Lovelock. The elderly couple said that they forgave the police for the mix-up and were, quote, stoked they didn't discover our stomach-churning pornography collection. A Florida man stands accused of stealing $250 worth of lap dances from a local strip club after he failed to produce the money to pay for them. Geez, it was stiff he got caught. Police had to approach carefully as they weren't sure whether he had a gun in his pocket or was just pleased to see him. And good news, ladies, I hear he's single. A discount grocery store in Germany is selling pop-up panic rooms made with reinforced steel. The rooms come with the option of a bench, magnetic lights, and a dry toilet, which to me is just a bucket, I'm pretty sure. But sitting in a confined space next to someone using a dry toilet, that's my idea of a panic room. And finally, a man has been rushed to hospital after getting his partner's fist stuck in his mouth. Did you see this footage during the week? Yeah, the couple reportedly tried to film a video for social media when his mouth became uncontrollably clamped down due to muscle spasms. So it seems filming it for social media is the new I tripped and fell on it. That's enough from me. Feel free to add me to your Signal chat.
And there is more Project on the way. Stick around. This is The Project.
Okay, it's time to talk about the weather. So hold on to your ISO bars because here comes our very own turbulent high pressure system, Satellite Susie!
Thank you very much, Maverick McManus, if that is your real name. Time for the weekend weather, brought to you by Zippy's Adult Jumpsuits, because who doesn't love to get completely naked when you go to the toilet as an adult? First to the People's Democratic Republic of Western Australia, where Perth set the dial to scorcher for the Derby weekend. And to keep cool, why not consider hemming up those footy shorts, lads? Safety can be sexy too. Let's take it down a few notches and head to Hobart, where you can expect showers with Sunday cool and 16. Cool and 16. Just like me as a teenager. I'm kidding. What a nightmare. Don't make me go there. Hold on to your Tangelos, Brisbane. You'll be hot, moist and 27, just like me. No, I'm being told to move on and fair. Okay, now to Adelaide, where your weekend is looking good with only a 5% chance of getting wet, and that is HR on the phone, okay? So Sydney's looking clammy, windy, and oh my God, expensive. Why is parking so expensive? Let's go to Melbourne, where the weather's perfect if you're heading out to the Melbourne Flower Show. And with possible showers, it's also perfect if you're heading indoors to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. There is also the Melbourne Tango Festival, where it's in Melbourne. And if you're not into any of that, what do you want me to do? I've given you options. Why am I always the one that has to make plans? Sorry, Darwin, you'll be 32 and stormy for the next 5 days, so don't forget to talc them thighs. And that's 3 strikes, so I'm off to HR. I'm Satellite Susie. Until next time, say hi to your thermometer for me.
Wow. And speaking of things to get up to this weekend, hi-ho! It's off to the movies we go.
Reels.
the Disney fairy tale that everyone is talking about, Snow White.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
You know the deal. While on the run from the OG evil stepmother, a puffy-sleeved princess makes 7 short friends.
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost. You'll be safe from the queen here.
Fill in the gaps with adorable woodland creatures, wishing wells, and poison apples, and you're all set.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
I'm sorry, my dear. But I frighten you.
Yet this one has been accused of replacing Dopey with Wokey, and it has Grumpy mad. Oh no, not that one. This one.
They should just leave the 7 little fellas alone.
Okay, moving on. Next, it's Oh Canada.
This documentary will record your progress from your arrival in Canada as a draft refugee through your career as a filmmaker. Where's my wife?
Richard Gere plays aging and unwell filmmaker Leonard, who decides to tell his story before it's too late, with both moving and hard truths laid bare.
By the time I was 22,
Up among this empty hand.
I'd already been married, fathered a child, gotten divorced. I had ruined my life.
Aussie pride and joy Jacob Elordi plays the young Dickie Gere. Geez, did my mum write this movie? And Uma Thurman rounds out a truly glittering cast to stare at while you reflect on life.
I'm waiting for everything to just kind of fall into place.
So go see Oh Canada, or as it's known in Trump's America, Oh 51st State. And who better to round out your weekend than steely Jason Statham in A Working Man?
Levin, was that some military shit?
Hey, you didn't see anything.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
When his boss's daughter Jenny goes missing, Statham takes off his hard hat to go full smoko and uncovers a world of corruption while he's at it.
Where's the girl? You a cop? You wish I was a cop.
I can guarantee you'll love this film, especially if your favourite movie genre is Jason Statham hitting people with things.
Food as much.
And that was...
So good. So Snow White.
Yes, look, this has come under a lot of fire, and my retort to most people would be, have you seen it?
No.
I watched it today. I thought it was good, a really enjoyable movie. I'm going to take my daughter to see it over the weekend. I think a lot of the controversy of people just reading stuff online and piling on. Yes, there's a bit of uncanny valley with the dwarves for me, but apart from that, I thought it was a really good movie. The remakes of the songs hit for me. Very funny laugh out loud moments, and I think it deserves a bit more.
But better than a Jason Statham movie? Or...
Oh, look.
Hold on a second.
Let's not get carried away. There is no uncanny valley about Jason Statham picking up a hard hat and smashing a guy in a gob. Hi. Time for a break. We'll be back with more after this. Oh, we're getting ready to sing along. Welcome back to the project.
Well, our next guests were the Aussie soundtrack of the millennium, and now they're back to deliver their iconic anthems again in their 25th anniversary Reflector album and tour.
Would you please welcome sibling duo Ella and Jesse Hooper. Kelly.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my God, it's so good to see you both.
It's been a while. 25 years, oh my God.
Do you know what I don't think I've ever properly asked or known? But 25 years on, who is Heidi and how is she still alive?
What? We don't talk about her.
She's long gone.
Yeah?
No, there was
Had it coming.
There was no particular Heidi that we had in mind. We just loved that juxtaposition of the words. So, but poor old Heidi's out there. Nothing personal. Every Heidi. We love you all.
There was a couple of Heidis in high school that questioned it. They were like, "Are you talking about?" No, it's not you.
Oh,
it's not
yes.
you. Like,
So she's still alive.
Oh, there's a generations of Karens who have been born going,
Oh my God, we were the millennial Karens.
We can do Killing Karens next time.
Yeah, next time
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
So a quarter of a century since your album, that was the fastest selling album in Australian history. What was it, do you think, that, resonated with people, your music at that particular time, the people that actually listened to it?
I think it was Ella's songs and her stories that
Yeah.
people connected to, really.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of sort of youthful enthusiasm, also not knowing what you don't know when you're that young. You just dive into everything head first, which we did. And we had wonderful musical upbringing. So Jessie was playing guitar and violin, Mr. Dark Horse there, like
true.
when we were kids busking at the Violet Town Market, like 11, 12 years old. And then we thought, we should probably have a crack at this ourselves. And I was already writing poetry and songs and he was playing guitar. So it just happened quite organically.
Does it help keep you grounded when you hit that fame as siblings?
I think it did, because
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy there for a few years, and I think to have your family as part of it made it very special musically, but also kept us in check, because we were also able to bring each other down and tease each other throughout all the successes. We still do a little bit.
Sometimes tear each other down.
And you're heading back out onto the road.
Yeah.
You're playing it in album order.
Yeah.
Do you have these flashback moments because for me, your songs are like very happy time machines. But what do you feel when you're playing them again?
Yeah, I do have the songs, certain songs, the ones that we've played the least, they send me back into the time of learning them and trialling them on big day out crowds and stuff like that. So it's quite powerful. And I can see that sort of happening for the crowd as well, which I guess is why the whole thing is just sort of snowballing at the moment, because there's this crazy wave that we're riding and it's tied to nostalgia, it's tied to happy times.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all need a bit of that right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Please, Sharon, please.
I was going to say, it's interesting, 25 years on, do you think you're playing better now than you did way back when we
I
first
certainly
started?
hope so. I certainly hope so. Yeah, look, we've been playing these songs for 25 years, with a few years off here and there, so we're playing them at a level that we could only have dreamt of when we first wrote them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we sort of rehearsed up the whole Reflector album. We were hopefully going to play it at the Good Things Festival last year, but we had a few technical issues, so we never got to play the whole set. So in June, we're hitting the road. We're going to play the whole album, plus a few other fan favourites, and we can't believe it's been 25 years, so we're going to play it from front to finish.
Which we have never done. Never, not once, have ever played at track 1 to track 12, or however many tracks there are. I don't even know. I'm about to find out.
Is there a chance we'll see some of the old outfits? Will we see dreadlocks? Will we see massive moon boots? Will we see
Look at this! I'm going to say no to the dreadlocks, but I am going to say yes to some of the outfits. Maybe that one. I'm thinking of bringing... Actually, I was thinking of getting on Killing Heidi's social media, so hit us up on social media, everyone, and taking a vote of what ones would you like to see come back. If you could choose an iconic...
I don't know if I could fit into those outfits.
And we'll absolutely rig the results, so don't worry about that.
Sounds great. Absolutely. Well, can I just say, it's so wonderful to see you both. I am of your era, as we all know, growing up together, but this is so wonderful to have you back.
Thank you. You've always been a big supporter of our band. We really appreciate you, Rose. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Killing Heidi's special anniversary edition of their album Reflector is available to listen to now. And if you'd like details on their tour, head to our website. Would you please thank Ella and Jessie?
That's it for tonight. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Susie. Stick around for the Graham Norton Show. We'll see you 6 o'clock for the Sunday Project. Then, bye.